First story. My dad cheated on my mom and I have to live with it for now. Hi. This is my first post on here, so I'm not familiar with this, but I came here because I really want to get good advice and opinions from others. I found out a few years ago when I was on my dad's phone. He was aware I was on his phone, that his Instagram was full of half-naked girls. At the time, I was quite shocked, but I guess I didn't want to think too much into it. However, I guess I never truly got over this experience. I later got into my first relationship and got cheated on. I was deeply traumatized, but we broke up, and then in the following year, got into another relationship that I thought would be good and ended up getting cheated on again. We broke up too. Now, as I thought my life was getting better, I guess the old memory of what I saw on my dad's phone crept up again. Out of curiosity, and I know what I did is extremely wrong, as everyone has right to privacy, I checked my dad's phone. This time without my dad knowing. And I found out that he was cheating on my mom at first. I thought he was just watching a bunch of porn and that he was addicted, which really hurt me too, but then I realized it was oh, how I wish it was just the porn. He was actively searching for escorts to meet up with whenever we would go back to our home country on holiday. On my mom's birthday last year, I don't know what provoked me, but I suddenly got this urge to hint to my dad that I was aware of the porn accounts he was following on Twitter, publicly with his name, and the half-naked girls on his Instagram. Not the cheating though, because I was terrified to bring that up. I hoped a little that if he realized I was upset about the porn and soft porn, he would try to refrain from it and from cheating too. Not that it makes the situation better, as he had already done it. I told him that I wish he would stop engaging with it so publicly, and that it could be considered cheating to some extent. IDKY, but I thought, for some crazy reason, he would sincerely just apologize and tell me he would stop instead. I was met with great horror. He denied the whole thing and claimed that he barely used Twitter or Instagram, that someone must have hacked them or something. Which is crazy, and just a shit excuse, as I had seen his Twitter following go up on his account every now and then with similar accounts, and everything else I witnessed with him just added up. He got really defensive and also angry, and told me he wouldn't be coming home for Mom's birthday dinner, and that this made him so mad. This is when I started panicking, because I realized I wouldn't know what to say to my mom, and I profusely apologized, saying I misunderstood, which I didn't actually mean, and that I would miss dinner instead so that he could come after some time. Thankfully his anger died and agreed to come to dinner, and that he shouldn't have gotten that mad at me. However, he didn't confess anything about the situation and was going with his story that someone must have hacked him. He ended up deactivating that Twitter account. I let it go because I was really terrified of his reaction, as I had really hoped he would be a mature parent. Now, only me, my brother and my cousin know about this. We have talked extensively on the topic, and have decided for now to not tell them we know about this due to their health not being great and our financial situation. We believe for now that the negatives greatly outweigh the positives. I was not happy with this at first, with an urge to tell my mom and just root for their divorce. However, I realized I was being unrealistically optimistic. I also realized that I am not any help to any of them right now, as I am not a fully grown adult with money. I also realized that there is a harsh reality. My dad would deny the whole thing, likely get extremely angry and leave the house for days. I also know my mom wouldn't take it well, and they would fight like crazy, and my mom's health, she is diabetic, would likely worsen. And the worst scenario for me, she may even blame me for telling her about this. I know this seems quite extreme, but I know my parents best, and they are definitely not the ideal parents I hope they would be, with them dealing with situation as maturely and responsibly as possible. Anyways, this was all mainly to give context for my actual concern. So far, I am studying to get into my dream uni course, and I live with my parents. My brother lives overseas. I am dependent on them and I want to continue living with them. mainly because I am greatly attached to my dog, and as he is getting old, want to stay with him for his last years with us. Additionally, I now have an urgency to protect my mom from my dad, and to make sure my mom is okay in every way. These two are the main things that stop me from going interstate, which I do have an opportunity to if I get into the course interstate. However, the problem is, I am getting more and more irritated every day, and my hatred for my dad is growing, not just because of the cheating, even though this is definitely the main reason, but also because he is quite lazy and is addicted to his phone despite everything going on. I wish to spend quality time with my parents, and it irks me so much that my dad spends most of his time on his devices rather than spend it with his family. I compare our family a lot with other healthier families that my friends have and get really sad about this. Because of this, I get more fed up with my dad, and it shows, as my mom picks up on it and gets angry at me for not respecting him more, which then in turn upsets me because she doesn't know the true reason I am upset. I think, considering that we have decided not to bring this up to my parents yet, I hope that my dad will change in other ways, such as being a better dad who is more present and actively spends his time with his family. I know I have said a lot of shit, but I just want to make it clear that despite these things, I do truly love both my mom and my dad. And I think this is the reason I am having such a hard time accepting my reality, because all the important men in life have turned out to be unfaithful. I know I will have a hard time forming healthy relationships in the future, as this is a really difficult truth for me to swallow. I am seeing a psychologist, with my own money as it is a secret from my parents, hoping to heal from this and be able to form healthy relationships with men, as unfortunately, I do want to get married one day. Any advice on how I can cope with living with them, or maybe on how I should change my approach with them? I would be happy listening to similar experiences too. Thank you for reading. Second story. I think my GF cheated. My partner 28 and I 29 of 7 years broke up in mid-late April. I ended things because I felt like we didn't want the same things in life, but still lived together until our lease ends. Anyway, I recently found out that she has had a boyfriend since before the end of May. I also found out that the guy lives in another country, Taiwan. My partner has never even been with a man before, never even kissed one, never compliments them. Mainly talking about celebrities here. Not even like a so-and-so celebrity is handsome or good-looking. He is the first guy she has ever dated. It feels wrong for me to be upset or hurt by this because we aren't together anymore. I am not upset at the fact that she is now dating a man. I understand that sexuality is fluid. I just cannot stop thinking about the timeline. It's hard for me to believe that she wasn't talking to him while we were still together. If she became his girlfriend after we broke up, then that means they literally got together within 30 to 40 days of us ending the relationship. But how does someone get into a long-distance relationship after 30-ish days of just ending one? This seems to be serious, as she has been looking for her passport recently and won't stop talking about how she needs to find it. She hasn't mentioned needing it or need to replace it since we started dating. Her passport expired over 5 years ago. For your information, she doesn't know that I know she has a boyfriend. I don't even know how to tell her that I know. Also, since we broke up, when I leave the house she will ask me if I'm going on a date or if I'm dating someone. I have been honest and told her no, and that I'm not ready looking to date right now. When she asks me this though, I always end up asking her the same question, if she is dating seeing someone, and she says no. I don't get why she would even ask me this. Am I overthinking this? Is it actually possible that she fell for someone that quickly? Is it wrong for me to feel upset when I don't have any proof that she was talking to this guy while we were together? Third story. Husband abandoned me in 3 days. My husband and I have been married for a little over a year, and we just signed divorce papers the other day. In the beginning of our relationship, we were just so happy. And even at the end of it, 90% of the time we were sweet to one another and extremely loving. However, we started to have fights when we would drink or about me catching him in lies all the time. I never thought he would go outside of our relationship in terms of cheating, but I would catch him adding girls on IG or like deleting messages in general. He lied a lot, like not being transparent about things like how much the new car he bought was. He told me 36K but it was 49. Even though he told me the new payment he was doing each month, we would talk about how I just wanted him to be bluntly honest with me, and he'd agree that what he was doing was not okay in a marriage, then repeat the same actions. His closer friends and his mom told me that he did a 180 after being with me. Apparently he would get in trouble and act badly a lot before we got married, aka he got a DUI, banned from a casino, and pushed someone at the hotel he worked at and got a battery charge from it when we were together. I never saw that side of him, unless we went out to party, which wasn't frequent. He left me in 3 days after 2 months of us not fighting and me feeling like our relationship was going well. He was super lovey with me and seemed extremely happy. However, he hadn't had sex with me in weeks and came home late from work one night when I was sleeping and told me later that I was dreaming about asking him what time it was when he got home. So I went through his Apple Watch and found text messages from a girl telling him that she was at the restaurant he works at, but her previous messages were deleted. And he told me that he had just gotten her free tickets to the show he works at, and just deletes messages when it's someone he doesn't want to talk to. I called him out and told him I was sick of having the same conversations over and over with him and sick of him hiding things from me and lying. After this, he told me he was unhappy with me and didn't see a future with me, then moved out in 3 days. Since then, he's been messaging me saying that he moved on too fast and wants to try therapy after the divorce goes through, but blocked me on Instagram and has added new girls. Even after these conversations, he got a brand new apartment, and when I saw it the other day, it was completely decorated more than he had ever decorated the house we rented together. I'm so confused about what's going on. Why would he want to try therapy after getting divorced? Every one of his friends seems to feel bad for me. They were like he should have been honest with his feelings to me before. How could someone go from being so hot to cold in a few days and walk out on a marriage? About me, I am like 108 pounds and small pretty. I get paid to model, but my main job is a cosmetic tattoo artist. He told me before he resents me for how much I make compared to him, which confused me. I looked at it as our money, not mine, since we are married. He also was supposed to get a green card from me, but I canceled the sponsorship after he left. He's from Australia and a server dancer at a strip show in Vegas. Can someone explain to me what is happening and why he would tell me he wants therapy despite our divorce? I'm just so hurt and broken. RN. Fourth story. Did my ex lie about being our pet just to cheat on me? Last year, I, at the time 16M, and my ex GF, 17F, got together around April time, and to this day it still gives me fond memories. I was never a really outgoing guy outside of my friend group, especially when it came to talking to random girls, and every time I'd get a girl's snap or get a girl's number, it would go nowhere. But one day I met my ex. I'll call her Addie for the sake of confidentiality, but me and Addie, we instantly clicked, and within a week of meeting each other we were dating. Some background on Addie: she lives in a much smaller town than me, about an hour away from where I live, but she could drive, so she didn't mind the distance. So she said she smoked weed and drank alcohol. But at first I didn't mind because she was the sweetest person I knew and was very caring. She's the girl I lost my virginity to, and I loved her with every fiber of my body. But one day about a year ago exactly, out of nowhere, she started to act cold and distant from me, which was completely out of character from her. OFC, we'd get into the occasional argument, but nothing ever too serious. Most of the argument stemmed from the fact she had a lack of empathy disorder and never said sorry whenever she was wrong. but just out of the blue she was starting arguments for no reason at all, and when we finally got to see each other, which is like 3-4 times a month, she didn't act like she did before. When I tried to hold her, she snapped at me saying don't pull her close to her, even though I just gently put my arms around her like I usually did. Well, a week after she started to act cold, she told me to call her out of the blue, which isn't normal because we usually only call at night, so I call her. And she ends up telling me that a week ago she got arped by her friend's uncle when she was going to get weed from them. Now looking back on it, I am not proud of my immediate reaction to the information, as I went into a full rage and ended up breaking my foot kicking down a stop sign. I was just so angry that I couldn't do anything about it. After that incident, our relationship was never the same. I always did everything in my power to make Addie happy. But after she told about what happened, no matter what I did, everything would just make her mad. But despite that, I was always extremely patient. But one day when she was yelling at me, I finally stood my ground, which ended in my GF wanting to take a break, which I reluctantly accepted. But the next day she tells me she wants to break up, which devastated me. Not 24 hours after that, though, she posts a picture of her and her new BF. I start to text one of her friends that I was close with, not I like you close, and she apologizes for how Addie had been treating me. And she told me that Addie had used her being arped as a way to distance herself from me, and was being cold to me on purpose to get me to break up with her. But when it didn't work, she just took the first opportunity she got and broke up with me. Now mind you, at the time I was still only 16, having to process so much within the span of 2 weeks. Eventually she does come back to me, and I'm not proud to say I welcomed her back with open arms. But she tells me that she didn't fake being arped, but it was true about how she acted cold on purpose to get me to break up with her because she couldn't, even though she did. But we started dating again for a month before the guy she cheated on me with found out. She started taking to me again. And it was important because they recently got engaged at the ripe age of 17. Well, her BF was 19, but all of that doesn't matter anymore because I completely cut contact with everyone from that area to get them out of my life. But I always wonder still to this day, did she really get arped? Or did she just use that as an excuse to distance herself from me and cheat on me? Fifth story. A doctor destroyed my penis during a physical exam in his office, and I struggle to cope with the damage that's been done to me. 2 months ago, I saw a neurologist to talk about fertility treatment options while taking testosterone replacement. My life has been ruined ever since. During my visit, he wasn't helpful with fertility treatment, but he wanted to do a physical exam on me before I left. I wasn't expecting one, but I agreed for some reason. I laid on the exam table and dropped my underwear. I thought he was just going to check for hernias and maybe look to see everything looks normal. First thing he did during the exam was inspect my penis. He looked at it for a second, then he proceeded to grab the top of it and stretched it out hard as far as he could and then squeezed into it. It was very uncomfortable, but surprisingly I didn't feel much pain. Then he checked for hernias and said I was good to go. I was uncomfortable and left immediately. As I was walking to my truck, I noticed my penis was totally numb and also sore. Later I also noticed I couldn't get an erection no matter how much I tried. It was like I was dead down there. To make a long story short, it's been 2 months since this exam and I am still damaged. My penis is totally numb with severe ED that medications don't even help with. I have seen many doctors and other urologists and they don't know what's wrong. My life has been ruined because of this. The stretch and squeeze the doctor did on me broke something in my penis worse than I could have imagined. I no longer have a libido anymore because my penis feels so disconnected and numb. Erections are nearly impossible and I haven't had a single morning wood since. I feel castrated and destroyed as a man. I've learned from reading online forums that apparently stretching the penis can cause these symptoms. And for many of them it's permanent. Most likely nerve damage among other things. I just wanted to get this off my chest because I've been struggling to cope with losing function and feeling of penis. It's one of the worst things I can imagine happening to a guy, and it somehow happened to me by a doctor. I've spoken to about 20 law offices about what happened to me, and none would take my case. I'm completely on my own with this, and will somehow have to cope with my damaged penis for the rest of my life. Sixth story. I cheated and now I do everything I can to gain his trust back. Can reconciliation happen? I'm heartbroken. My heart feels like it's drowning and sinking, and I can't eat. I sleep max 3 hours and I can't find energy or motivation to shower. I am 29F and my husband is 30M, been together since 6 years and married since 2. I love him with all my heart. I really do. I'm not just saying it. If I had to describe him with one word, it will be perfect. He didn't let a day pass without telling me that I'm beautiful. He would always wake up at least 30 minutes before me to go out at 5 a.m. in the morning in the cold to buy me my favorite croissant for breakfasts that he would leave in the desk of our bedroom along with a lovely note every single day. I am a fucking monster. I don't deserve to live. The more I think about how he was, the more I cry. And the more I cry, the more I remember that I don't deserve to cry because I am the one who ruined my life and completely changed the personality of the love of my life. I don't know why I did. I cheated on him 2 months ago with a friend of his. After dealing with a panic attack, I immediately told him the same night. Everything changed since that day. While I was confessing to him, he didn't say a single word. He refused to speak to me the next days. I would call him, message him, try to talk to him when he was at home, and he would always ignore me. The only time I'm able to feel a sparkle of joy is when he talks on the phone with friends in the living room, and sometimes he lets out a laugh. Hearing him laughing makes me cry. Almost 2 weeks ago, while he was laying in the couch and he was about to sleep, I asked him if we could talk. He told me no, because he doesn't consider me a real human. I tried with all my strength to not let my tears flow down, and even though he didn't want me there, I sat on my knees on the floor near him, apologizing for every single thing I have done. I asked him if he wanted to know the details of what happened. He didn't answer. I asked him if he wanted to know why I did it. He didn't answer. I asked him if he wants to divorce me. He didn't answer. At one point I just couldn't control my desperation and I started crying, and I begged him to tell me what could I do to solve this, and he still didn't answer. I got up and go to our bedroom. I cried for nearly 3 hours non-stop. At this point it was around 2 a.m. I just wanted to see him again, and I've gone back at the living room just to stare at him from distance. I was sure he was sleeping, but one part of me hoped he wasn't. And I said quietly to him, if you don't want to talk to me by voice, please at least consider doing it through messages. After an hour I returned to our bed and cried to sleep. At 9 a.m. I woke up, seeing a letter on our desk. I almost jumped from happiness without even reading the letter. I was just so happy that he took time from his life to have some sort of interaction, even if not a direct one, with me. I started to read the letter, and it was a list of the things he wanted me to do. He prefaced writing, "You are not forced to do any of these. However, if you do, I'll deeply take that in consideration." This is what he demanded from me. Block from all social medias the friend whom I have cheated on him with. Give him every password of every digital account I have. Install parenting apps to always know my location. Cut off all my friends, prioritizing male ones. Block them and screenshot it. Confess my affair to my best friends and my family. Don't masturbate. Quit my job and opt for a home remote work. Don't speak to him unless he speaks to me. Decide an hour in which I would eat lunch and dinner, so he can decide so he never meets me in the kitchen. Don't go to parties if somehow without friends I got invited to one. Delete all my social medias. Add porn blocker in my PC. Always send him a message whenever I leave the house or I go to shower. Be more participating in home chores. Don't go to the gym. Opt to train at home. Don't drink alcohol if I choose to seek professional help. I have to make sure my therapist is a woman. And lastly, don't interact with him unless or until I haven't accomplished every demand listed above. I could feel my chest becoming smaller and I felt like suffocating. I knew I deserved all this, but every single of these requests made me fall deeper and deeper into a state of depression and sadness or loneliness. Not because I think they are unfair, I didn't think they were, but it just shows me how much I destroyed his trust. I accepted to do everything listed. I started with what I believed was easier and quicker. I immediately blocked the man I've cheated my husband with. The hardest things were calling my friends and family and tell them about my affair. I've got no friends now. And even my own father despises me, rightfully so. After 1.5 weeks of trying to accomplish all his desires, I finally completed the list and I was happily ready to refer it to him. So yesterday I tried to do it. I dressed up, shaved myself, made myself as pretty as I could. He was in the living room, and I took the letter with me and give it to him. I couldn't help but smile when I told him that I've done everything he asked, and I was about to show him all the screenshots of all the people I've blocked through my phone. But he didn't even let me do that before asking me to go out the living room. I didn't want to anger him, so I left. I felt like shit. I know I'm not entitled to ask for love and for compliments, but I tried so hard that night to be pretty only for him. Hell, I tried all week to do everything he told me, and he didn't even look me in the eyes while I was talking to him. I'm desperate. Please, tell me if someone has lived through this and eventually reconciliated with their loved ones. I'm terrorized that he made me do all those things only to punish me, which I would be fine with. I'd do everything he asks me. But if he makes me do it only to punish me and not to see in me someone worth loving again, I don't think I can emotionally handle that. Did I ruin my life forever? Please, I need suggestions on how to do and how to behave. 7th story. Never in my life I thought I will be here. And yet, here I am. Me, M, 41, and my wife, F, 39, are together for 15 years, married for 13 years. We have 3 young boys together. We are quite comfortable financially, no student debt, nice big house in the suburbs, no mortgage, nice holidays every year. The relationship was good. I'd say 8 out of 10. No big arguments, but there definitely was some dullness, some small quarrels from time to time. About a year ago she started to say that she doesn't feel loved anymore, our relationship is taking the dive and so on. I was quite surprised, not least because she is financially dependent on me, and while she was quite reluctant, convinced her to take couples therapy. Unfortunately, couples therapy did not help, and she was keen to get a divorce. All these years I have trusted her 100%, but for some reasons 8 weeks I have checked her work email, and to my utter shock and disbelief found out that she had an affair with her manager. He is divorced, 17 years older than she is. The affair lasted 3 years, with full intimacy for about 5 years. I could not believe this at first. All these years, the smiles, the laugh, the good times, holidays and adventures we had was a lie. 15 years together, family, kids, all flushed down the toilet. She said she is sorry, that she is going to leave the AP, that she wants to save the marriage. I reluctantly agreed to that, but when I asked does she regret having an affair, she said I regret nothing. When I asked for access to her phone, she didn't do it. So after 4 weeks of this half-arsed reconciliation, I've packed my stuff and went to live with my parents. Then it hit her, how much dependent she is on me. Then she was really begging me to come back, blackmailing with suicide and all that. She said how much she regrets, how she is going to change, how she is going to see therapist, and so on. Again, I've reluctantly agreed to come back, and straight away she started to rug sweep everything. We still live together. Every day she says how much she loves me, how much she is happy that I've returned, but I know that it's not going to work. She is just sorry she got caught. The kids will be better off living with me anyways, as she hardly cared about them that much anyway. I know I will be better off. But anyways, fuck my life. Why did this had to happen to me? 8th story. Learning where I stand. This weekend was my birthday, and also Father's Day. It was also the deadline for my STBXW to hand over her financial disclosure to my lawyer. It has been one of the worst weekends of my life, to be honest. To start, I got her financials the day before my birthday. I discovered that she has racked up another $15,000 of debt on her credit cards since last August, when I got a second mortgage to help pay off a lot of debt. She was supposed to pay off her credit cards, 5 of them, and then cancel 3. She did not. She canceled only 1. Her total debt is now at $45,000. I never knew it was that bad. So I spent the night before my birthday going through 360 pages of financial records to see what I was actually expected to pay back. Not fun. The day of my birthday was all right. She texted me a happy birthday message, as did her sister. However, her other sister, mother, and father said nothing. I saw her mother when I got home from work, as she was watching my children, yet she said absolutely nothing. Didn't even say goodbye when she left. I was very close with the rest of her family, so this was fairly upsetting, but now I know where I stand with them. I didn't expect them to take my side, but I did expect at least a small level of civility. I have known them for over 20 years, and now I'm persona non grata over her actions. Today she texted me, "Happy Father's Day," and for some reason it just rubbed me the wrong way today. Like everything is perfectly fine in our lives. Like she isn't trying to claim back the gift down payment her father gave us to buy our house, which I don't even remember signing, but there goes $20,000 plus. Like she isn't trying to claim our holiday camper her mother gifted me 7 years ago. It was registered in my STBXW's name, as she already had a plate for a trailer, and it made it easier at the time. Like she isn't lying on her financials and overvaluing the trailer, undervaluing her truck, and claiming a bunch of other expenses while asking for spousal support. Like she hasn't stated that she won't be paying her share of the mortgages or utilities as she has credit cards to pay for. My lawyer still states that she has every right to live here while paying nothing into it. So I can't just kick her out. Like she hasn't bought groceries for the house for over a month now. She has pulled some horrendous shit and shredded my mental state to tiny shreds, and just keeps going further. I feel like justice will not be served for me. I can already picture her stupid smug face when I am ordered to give her spousal support and child support, even if we have 50-50 custody. It drives me insane. I'm trying to put on a brave face today, but I'm just highly annoyed. What was supposed to be a great weekend for me has turned into anger and depression while I clean the house, because no one else is, instead of enjoying a fun time with my children. I just needed to vent.